Welcome to this lesson, and we are going to construct the following angles. Let's write them here. We are going to construct 90 degrees. We are going to construct 45 degrees. We are going to construct 22.5 degrees, and so forth. So always remember, we said there are two lines that are very important. One is a construction line. Number two is the outline. Okay. In all your drawings, you should be able to distinguish these two. We are going to learn other lines as we go, but for now, the most important lines are these. This one is always a faint line. This one is a thick line. It outlines the final object that you want the person who is reading your drawing to see. Okay, and always remember, I am using a pen. The reason why I'm using a pen is simply because I want this to be very much visible to you. So that is my paper. I have the borderline. I have the space for the title block. Always remember to do that, to put your title block, okay? So as for NOTEC standard and the TVETA standards, you're always going to have some marks for doing this. All right, so let's begin. The first thing that we are going to do is we are going to make a faint line. So I would want to start from here. So I'm going to make a faint line, which is called the outline. Very faint line, so it's right there, okay? I think I need to repeat it to this side. Remember always to use your T-square. Okay, so now remember, we are going to choose any arbitrary point here, which we are going to say it's point A. We want to construct a 90. Okay, let me write outside here because we said there's no work which should be there. So we are going to construct a 90. How do we construct a 90? We are going to get our compass to any radius. It doesn't matter, you can measure, but we don't want something that is too big because it's going just to waste our paper. We want something that is reasonably small. Okay, something reasonably small. So I pick that for me. It's reasonably small. Okay, so I want you to follow. I want you to follow properly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make an outline. Okay, a very faint line. Okay, there. Now this semicircle that I've made, it's crossing this line at point A and point T. I mean at this point, let's say this is B and this is C. Now remember, when we are constructing a 60, we are saying if we stand here at this point and we strike an arc there, this angle which we make from there to there, it's 60. If I stand here on the other side and strike an arc, okay, strike another arc, I've made a 60 from here as well. Now if I stand at this point, it is still a 60. You see that is going to touch there. It's the same if I stand there and make an arc. So I would have chosen to stand here and also stand there. I would still have made the same thing. Now this one is 60 from this side. This one is also 60 from this side. Now if I'm coming from here and I go that way, this becomes my 120. So the angle that is between 60 and 120 is definitely a 90. So what do? We bisect these two. So I'll still measure that distance there. You see, the way we are bisecting a 60 to make a 30. Then I stand at one of the points here, make an arc on top. Okay, change the position of the compass, stand there, make an arc right there. The two arcs are intersecting at a certain point. So I'll get one of my set squares and make a line. Now for me, this is on my left hand side. I'm not able to see properly, so I don't want to use this. I'll get the other one, or if I want, I can use it this side, because at least this side I'm able to see. So I've just turned my set square into that position. Okay, so you see the T-square is helping me to keep the set square straight. Okay, so I'm joining the position of the arc right here to this point right there. Now this is what I want, so I'm going to make it thick. It's an outline. Are you seeing it? Now it's up to me to choose which 90 do I want to make. I want to make this one or that one. I'm going to choose to make this one. So what I'll do is I'm going to outline this one as well. So I have made my 90. Let's repeat the process. We're going to choose point A somewhere here. We said we get our compass and get any radius of our choice. I don't work with too many big things, okay? So it's simply a simple radius. Make an arc. Once you stand at A, you make an arc that will go all the way there, right? So let's do that. I stand here. I'm going to make a very faint line to make an arc all the way there. All right, then we'll stand at one of the points the arc intersects a straight line. We do that. We stand this side again. We do that. I hope we are following. Then now we bisect the two and measure this distance here. Okay, so this distance I've measured, it is like that. Then I stand at one of the points where the arc intersects the semicircle. I make an arc there. I change my position, stand there, make an arc right there. Okay, you see? So I'm going to get my set square and join this one with an outline. Okay, that is my outline, and that is my outline. So I have literally made a 90-degree angle. Now, how do we make a 45? Remember, 45 is simply a half of 90. So meaning I just have to bisect my 90 for me to get a 45. How do we bisect? We get this distance of 90. Observe closely what I'm doing and practice. I get this distance here. I've measured it. I stand at this point with my compass. First point. Hope you are seeing it. First point. And I strike an arc. Now, see that these arcs, even when I'm using a pen, these arcs are actually very faint. Then I stand at another point. How do we measure? We measured here, right? So the first point was here. The second point is right here. So I make an arc. Now, this is very important what has happened, and it's going to happen for most of you. You see that the two arcs have not met. So I'm going to come back to this one and just extend it. You see where I stood at first, I made that arc, so I'm just going to extend it. You see that they meet somewhere there. So what I do now is pick my set square again and join right there. Okay, very important. Ensure that always it is in the middle of the arc. Don't make these dots, I'm just trying to show you. Okay, if I want to make now a 22.5, remember that 22.5 is a half of 45. So I'm going to pick, look, this is my 90, this is my 45. So if I bisect 45, I'm going to get a 22.5. So I'm going to measure that one right there. Okay, that one right there. Stand at the first point where the compass stood. Make an arc right there. Change the compass position. And make another arc right there. You see? Then now join at the very center here. Join to the origin. To the origin there with an outline. So that becomes so. So now let's do this. We have constructed a 90. Here we have mixed 90, 45, 22.5. Let's create 22.5 alone, 22.5 degrees alone. We are going to choose a point. Let's rename it point A. We repeat the process. We pick any radius on our compass. Any radius on our compass. Make a semicircle. Now this semicircle looks too big. Okay. Okay, right? Then, yeah, the circle has become too big. Then we make a 60 there. We come this side. Make a 60 there. Then we bisect now. See, this one already choose itself actually. So we stand there. Don't mind about the 22 that I've written that side. And also I come there. So you see, that's where the intersection is. I'll get my... I always like marking the middle point so that I don't miss, because once there are so many angles, a missing of 1 millimeter is actually going to affect everything. Okay, so I have my point there and I'm going to join. Now, look, I don't need this line, this 90, because I'm not drawing 90. I'm drawing 45. I mean 22.5. So this is going to be a very faint line. Now, if you want, you can't draw a faint line. You can just draw right here, because this is the point that we need. Actually, we can just mark it as a point. But it's okay if you draw it in a faint line. We haven't drawn it in outline because we don't want a 90. We want a 22.5. Now, from 90, we have to get 45. How do we get 45? We bisect a 90. Now, this is our 90. This is our 90, okay? That's our 90. So we stand here, make an arc. We stand here, make an arc. Even here, this is now 45. We don't need the entire 45. So there is no need of drawing the outline. So what I'm going to do now instead, I'm simply going to connect this one, just the way I did with the 90, to the origin. But you see, I don't need the entire line. I can only just mark right there, because that's where the line is passing. And I know that this is actually my 45, you know. So anyway, for the sake of us beginning, we are going to do that, but it's going to be in an outline. That is our 45. Now, we wanted 22.5, so we are going to bisect 45. So I'm going to measure that. This is our 45. So we bisect, we make an arc right there, then we come stand here and make an arc right there. You see? Now, that is 22.5, and that is what we need. So, I'm going to make this one as an outline. As an outline. Okay. So you guys, you should be free to rotate around. Don't be fixed like me. You should be free to rotate around your drawing board so that you draw these lines as accurate as you can. So you see now, this is my 22.5 degrees. But for us to draw 22.5 degrees, we started from 90. Then we came to 45, then we came to 22.5. This is how you draw this standard. You can draw half of 22.5 and half of that and half of that. Any angle can be drawn with this until perhaps the compass is too small. So that's how we do it. See you in the next tutorial.